Hello students, welcome to MCQ video discussion on Medico apps. Today the question which I'll be discussing with you is from the dental histology basic topic. But before that, I want you to subscribe our YouTube channel so that whenever I discuss such basic MCQs, some important dental concepts, you will be notified for all of those questions. And definitely you have to hit a bell icon for getting notified for all those important MCQ discussions and dental topics. So let's start today's discussion of MCQ. And this question, as I have told you, that this question belongs from dental histology topic, and this question has been framed in the All India PG examination. So let's see what is the question. So the question which is framed is that the accentuated incremental lines in dentin due to disturbances in matrix and mineralization process is, and the options here are the incremental lines of Retzius, the incremental lines of Vonebner, the contour lines of Owen, and option D is none of the above. Now, to understand this question, you should know all the three options. What exactly is incremental lines of Retzius? What exactly is Ebner incremental lines and the Owen contour lines? All these you should know. Now, they are not very difficult, but yes, you should know the difference between all these three incremental lines when it comes from dental histology, because such questions only make the confusion when we are sitting in the examination hall. So let's learn one by one quickly about these three important incremental lines which are important in the formation of our dental histology or dental tooth. So firstly, we will discuss about the incremental lines of Retzius. Now, these incremental lines of Retzius, to be in a very short form, I would say that these are basically present in the enamel. Now, how do they appear? What is the significance? Why are we discussing this? And what is the importance? So we will be discussing it in very short and briefly, and you will understand what exactly is the incremental lines of Retzius. So incremental lines of Retzius, as I have told you, is seen in the enamel, and when it is seen in the ground section of the enamel. And how do they look? So they do look like a brownish band. So as you can see in this image, these brownish bands, okay, these brownish bands are known as incremental lines of Retzius. So the first question and the first answer to you is that the incremental lines of Retzius are seen in the ground section of the enamel. And how do they appear? They appear like a brownish band. Now, what is the significance? So if you illustrate this, these are incremental patterns of the enamel. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by incremental patterns? So whenever the enamel layers are laying down during the formation of the crown, there will be these pattern of enamel layers will be formed. And these patterns, when these enamel layer will be laying off, they will be laying off in an incremental pattern. And that pattern is known as incremental lines of Retzius. I hope you have understood that when the enamel layer is forming, especially during the formation of the crown, they are laying down in the incremental patterns in a line-like pattern. That is why they are called as incremental lines of Retzius. So I hope you have understood the exact definition of incremental lines of Retzius. So do you find any abnormality in these incremental lines of Retzius? No. So that means our answer for the question is not the incremental lines of Retzius. The second line which we had to discuss, and the second option was the incremental lines of Vonebner. Now, what exactly is the incremental lines of Vonebner? So these are also normal incremental lines which are found in the dentin. Yes, they are fine lines or striations in the dentin which are found in the dentin. Now, why is the incremental lines of Vonebner seen and how they are seen? So they are also basically, dentin is a rhythmic process. Okay, so there is a daily rhythmic pattern of dentin which gets deposited during the formation process of the dentin. So these lines, these incremental lines, or these lines, the rhythmic pattern of these lines shows these incremental lines of Vonebner. When the dentin is being deposited during the formation process, those incremental lines are known as Vonebner. So as you can see in this image, these incremental lines of Ebner, to be very specific, are at right angle to the dentinal tubules. Now, dentinal tubules, as I have already told you, is a part of the dentin. These are tubes. Okay, so these are tubule-like structures which are present in the dentin. So these incremental lines of Vonebner are present at the right angle to the dentinal tubules. How they are present? So as you can see, these vertical lines are the dentinal tubules, and these horizontal lines are the incremental lines of Vonebner. So as you can see the pattern, definitely the incremental lines of Vonebner are present at right angle to the dentinal tubules. Again, as you can see in this image, these are the dentinal tubules, the vertical lines are the dentinal tubules, and the horizontal lines are the Vonebner, or the incremental lines of the Vonebner. So I hope you have understood this point also, that they are nothing but fine lines or striations in the dentin, which are basically formed during the rhythmic process of the dentin formation. They are laid like in a during the formation process of the dentin, and they are present at right angle to the dentinal tubules. Now, what is the distance between these two Vonebner, the incremental lines of Vonebner? So the distance between two lines are around 4 to 8 microns. Okay, so the distance between these two lines are around 4 to 8 microns. Now, as the tooth comes into the functional occlusion, that means the tooth becomes in a functional tooth, the daily increment decreases of the incremental lines of Vonebner. So I hope you have understood that these are also normal incremental lines which are formed in the dentin. Yes. So till now we have understood about the incremental lines of Retzius, which was found in the enamel, and they are normal lines. The second one which we have discussed, the second option, is the incremental lines of Vonebner. These are found in the dentin, and they are also normal deposition during the formation process of the dentin. Now, after that, the third option which we had discussed was the contour lines of Owen. Now, what exactly are the contour lines of Owen? So, first two you have understood very briefly. The third line here we are going to discuss is the some incremental lines. Among the all incremental lines which we have been discussing in the tooth formation, there are certain incremental lines which are accentuated. Now, what do you mean by accentuated? Accentuated means prominence. There are certain prominent incremental lines which are formed because of the disturbance in the matrix and mineralization process. Now, during the formation of a tooth, definitely lot of matrix and mineralization process goes on, and that is how the tooth formation takes place. But if there is any disturbance during that procedure or that process, there are certain incremental lines which are formed, and they are very prominent. Now, how do they appear? So they appear like this. These are the incremental lines or the contour lines of Owen. As you can see in this image, this A line, this A point which I am just mentioned here, or I have specified here, are the contour lines of Owen. Now, these are the result of disturbance in the matrix and mineralization process, and such incremental lines are known as contour lines of Owen. Now, these basically are formed in the dentin. These incremental lines, the disturbances, these abnormal incremental lines are formed in the dentin. So, till now we have discussed about the Retzius incremental lines which was formed in the enamel. Then we have discussed about the Vonebner incremental lines which was formed in the dentin, but that was a normal incremental line. But here the contour lines of Owen is formed in the dentin, but they are abnormal incremental lines. Why? Because these are formed due to the disturbance in the matrix and mineralization process. And lastly, why are they formed? How is the disturbance done? And where is the disturbance done? So basically, these lines represent the hypocalcified bands. That means wherever there is hypocalcification which is occurring in the dentin, these lines will be formed. So let's go back to our question which I had asked, and the question was the accentuated incremental lines in the dentin. So till now here nothing is, it is showing that there is any abnormality, but the second line of the question says a lot, and the answer from there comes, and the key point is that due to the disturbances in the mineral and matrix, due to the disturbance in the matrix and mineralization process, the incremental line is known as. So the answer will be contour lines of Owen, because the incremental lines of Retzius is totally different. They are seen in enamel. The incremental lines of Vonebner, they are seen in dentin, but they are normal lines. They are formed during the deposition of the dentin formation. But the contour lines of Owen are formed during the incremental. They are incremental lines, but they are formed due to the disturbance in matrix and mineralization process. So they appear like a hypocalcified band. So I hope you have got this answer. So please do remember all these three incremental lines, because differently questions can be framed among all these three options. Okay, this is one of the question which I have discussed where there is disturbance and where there is difference, but it might be asking you about the incremental lines of Vonebner or Retzius also, and sometimes this can also be asked by a Viva examiner. So kindly do remember these three important lines which I have made simple for you, and don't forget to subscribe our BDS YouTube Express channel. And in case you want such kind of important information of dental topics, MCQ discussions, you need to join our exclusive WhatsApp group on www.medicoapps.org/group. The link of this group is also given in the description below. Kindly join our channel and keep getting all the information related to your dental subjects. You will definitely be able to score good marks because of that. For now, good day, good luck.